a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. That's really about it. That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He's shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him. He was touching him.
That jab,
he was so
he busted him open.
He was so comfortable.
I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game.
Jon Jones has stunned the MMA community once more by challenging Tom Aspinall to top the UFC White House card. However, fans remain skeptical, as Jon has spent weeks relentlessly talking about Tom, ridiculing him, showing disrespect, and bringing up his name in virtually every interview.
Gets hurt, he's like immediately incapacitated. It's like he poked my eye and then he's like immediately, there's no like
trying. He didn't try.
Same thing with Curtis Blaze. When he hurt his knee, there was no limping, there was no trying to get up. It was just like immediately, burn my village, I can't go on. Immediately quit.
When Jon Jones is getting told that Tom Aspinall is the guy that's going to beat him, he's sitting back hoping that something happens to give him a reason to go and downplay that. We spoke about it prior to the fight. I told you guys if Cyril Gane won, Jon would constantly go, that's the guy he thought was going to beat me. I don't know that finish isn't more satisfying to a guy like Jones, because now he can almost guess what would have happened, even if that might not be true. Make no mistake about it, Cyril Gane was finding a lot of success in round one, more than many people thought that he was going to. But Cyril could have either continued to build, or Tom could have completely settled himself and turned that around. Guys, that was a 4-minute round. They did not fight a long fight to really form an opinion. I think the reason they formed an opinion in a strong way that they did, because they'd never seen Tom struggle at all. I told you before the fight, this was easily going to be the hardest thing he'd ever done.
It was really bad how it looks. And he said, you can't train your eyeball to be stronger. It is what it is. There's protection here and here, but he obviously got no protection because the fingers were straight in. The fight should have been stopped. He couldn't see. It was a foul. He couldn't see. Then you can't fight. You know, if he'd have got knocked out with a head kick next, then it would have been worse. I don't know. And then he said, sometimes when your eyes here like that, it can become displaced and stay there. And they did a few tests on that, and they said it doesn't seem like that. And his vision on the eye that's the best eye, his eye wasn't following properly, so the muscles weren't working strong enough to go this way. This one just wasn't working that good at all. So we've got to have additional tests further this week, and Moyes is sorting the tests out for us, and he's got a CT scan.
It was a significant eye poke. It wasn't like a little scratch.
Yeah.
It was, they went in. They were proper eye pokes, and Tom clearly was in a lot of pain. There's people saying online, well, he was saying multiple times, I can't see. If he wanted to continue, he shouldn't be saying that. The reality is, if he can't see,
tell the truth.
If you can't see, you're allowed to say you can't see. People might point to me and say, well, you fought with one eye. Yeah, that was a secret because I shouldn't have been fighting. You know, Tom is the champion of the world. He doesn't want to go out there when his vision is impaired or vision is massively affected and potentially lose a fight that was shaping up to be a difficult fight. Cyril Gane was on point tonight. He was looking good. We saw the damage on Tom's face. This was not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. He didn't want to continue his vision damaged or not being able to see. So I don't blame him. The crowd were upset. I get that. They were frustrated. They've flown in from other countries. They've spent a lot of money. They've bought tickets, and the fight ends like that. I don't think the frustration was on Tom. I think the crowd was just annoyed at the...
This has left the MMA world questioning what's actually happening. Ever since Tom Aspinall's bout with Cyril Gane ended in that disputed eye poke no contest, Jon Jones hasn't let up. He made a public appearance at a live event wearing an eye patch, taunted Tom on social media, and continued criticizing him non-stop in recent interviews.
Cyril Gane was supposedly. There's a video that hasn't gone viral, but one of his losses, he was very much an adult, I believe already a black belt, and he was taken down and a guy twisted his ankle. He had no defense. He tapped so quickly. There was no, I had a fight where I got arm barred and I was literally willing to let somebody break my arm before giving up to go for Vitor Belfort. With Tom, the moment he felt any pressure on his ankle, he tapped immediately, which lets me know a lot about him.
That being said, And I love Tom. I'm a big believer in Tom. But there are some holes in his game if you watch enough fighting. Even though he's starching everybody, he's not starching elite level guys. He's beating and demolishing guys that are offered to him, but the heavyweight division has never been weaker. So you're basically the king of the mediocre heavyweight division. But again, not his fault. But with saying that, it goes to show that Tom does have some issues in his game that at a certain level will get exposed. So if you bring up Tom's record, my issue for Tom is, so Tom's one of the most athletic. Gon might be the only more athletic heavyweight in the division, but Tom's fucking right up there. So Tom's big, he's fast, he's athletic. He has jiu-jitsu as far as we know. We got to take that with a grain of salt, even though he grew up in diapers in his jiu-jitsu gym. His dad was a jiu-jitsu owner. This isn't a knock on England, but it's going to be different. It's just different over there. Wrestling credentials, it's just different over there. They're not the same level as other parts of the world. So Tom's thing, right, is he's basically a knockout artist.
How do you stop eye pokes in the UFC? Andy Aspinall was in the hospital with Tom and saying,
I think it would be useful to analyse the people who do it and get away with it in the fight, win the fight, and everybody forget that they're going to get poked in the eye. And I just think it's unfair.
I feel like this going forward, as soon as someone gets poked in the eye, accident or not, it's a point deduction. Doesn't need to be a disqualification, but they need to be losing something on the scorecard. Jim Miller fought at UFC 100, 200, and 300, and he said,
unfortunately, we are probably going to see someone lose an eye in the octagon.
And then also on top of that, it was knuckle deep. He was 2 fingers deep into Tom's eyes.
I could understand the booing a bit. They paid a lot of money for these tickets, have traveled many hours to get there. But anyone that's saying he was looking for a way out, you kind of are stupid.
Tom was poked in the eye. As a matter of fact, he was poked in both eyes. Now, I don't believe Surreal did that on purpose. So, I also can't or am not mad at Surreal. But I am mad. I'm looking for somebody to blame. But I don't quite know who to blame. Now, before we get to that, okay, there was a pretty interesting fight going on. The story going into this fight is Tom has the power to just go knock him out. We're not saying Tom's a better kickboxer. We get that Surreal did that for many years of his life. We get that Surreal had over 30 professional kickboxing bouts. But Tom, a little younger, a little bigger, shown to have a little bit better power if you just want to look at results, and has the ability to knock him out. However, if Tom tests that and doesn't knock him out, he'll just take him down and beat him up. I mean, this was the belief going in, guys. Tom was a 3.5 to 1 favorite. Tom told everybody that was willing to listen, I shouldn't be a 3.5 to 1 favorite.
He's been labeling him as overrated and dull, claiming that Tom didn't perform well at all against Gain. But here's the question. If Jon truly believes that Tom Aspinall isn't all that impressive, why not face him directly? Why not step into the cage with the reigning heavyweight champion instead of going after Alex Pereira for what seems like an easier payday? Both fans and fellow fighters are pointing this out for exactly what it is.
Now, Tom's not a knockout artist because he's throwing these insane combinations and he's slipping and he looks like fucking, Anthony Joshua Canelo. He's doing it because he has faster hands. It does because you get labeled a knockout artist via Derek Lewis. When you get labeled a knockout artist in the UFC, it doesn't mean you have world-class striking. It means you have good striking for a mixed martial artist that has a variety of things you have to be good at, but you do excel in this, but it doesn't mean you have world-class striking. So Tom's thing is he has really fast hands for big heavyweight. And if you look at the guys he's beat, I would love to hear the argument that he's beat high-level world-class strikers. Which one of the guys that he beat would you label, if you're listening to this on your way to work or if you're watching this, if you have a knowledge on mixed martial arts and just striking in general, whether it's kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, which one of his opponents would you say was world class?
And for you, are these two, are you interested in Tom at this point? Is he in your thoughts as well?
Ele é uma luta que te interessaria, que está na sua mente?
Okay.
Tom Aspinall. Bom, igual eu falei, eu lutaria com qualquer um no peso pesado, mas o Jon Jones é o campeão, eu sou campeão. Se fosse o Tom Aspinall, é óbvio que eu iria lutar com ele.
I'll fight anybody at heavyweight, but I'm the champion. Jon Jones the champion. If Aspinall was the champ, I wanted to fight him.
Okay. Does Dana White hate Tom Aspinall? Because in the post-match press conference, he was going at his heavyweight champion like he absolutely did not like him.
I mean, he had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight.
And a key word there is didn't. He didn't say Tom Aspinall couldn't continue, insinuating that he's a quitter.
I don't know if it's because Andy Aspinall's saying Tom wants to go to boxing and he'd love a big payday in boxing, but that's just Andy being a manager and a dad negotiating.
I'm going to be honest, I'll give Dana the benefit of the doubt. He could have easily just misspoke. And the fact that if you do watch the YouTube that Aspinall put out, Dana White's in the locker room before wishing him all luck. I'm sure he's on good terms with Tom Aspinall and his father, because Dana White, let's be honest, if he doesn't have Tom Aspinall, he doesn't have a heavyweight division. If you saw the other heavyweight fights that were on this UFC 321 card, absolute ass.
Beautiful jab, circling all around. He won that round. Both those guys, for being heavyweight, can move so well on their feet. God, that was going to be such a sweet fight. And I thought Tom was going to go out there and kind of run through Ciryl. That was going to be a very interesting fight. I mean, I guess running it back makes sense. Post-fight reaction from Tom Aspinall. What the fuck you booing? I'm the one that got poked in the fucking eye. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not the one that fucking poked him. I get it, you're frustrated. I don't think the fans weren't booing at Tom for not continuing. I don't think the fans are booing because, you know, it sucks. It's the main event. You want to see a fight. But every time like a first reaction happened, the nut shot, an eye poke, you don't think it's, all right, it's gonna get stopped. And when it does, it sucks. Oh God, I remember when the Pedro fight got stopped. It was in the second round, and I was feeling like I was just getting started. And you just see those guys heartbreak in there, just not being able to compete and do what they love to do. They put all this work in. I think you turn it around, immediate rematch.
It's pure envy. Tom Aspinall has achieved what Jones hasn't managed in years, gaining the admiration of fans through dedication, loyalty, and humility. Meanwhile, Jon Jones seems fixated on bringing him down. Even Joe Rogan pointed out that Jon's actions come across as petty and insecure, especially considering all that Tom has endured. The year-long weight struggles, injuries, disrespect, and now this ongoing feud. The irony is striking, because Jon Jones is the one who prolonged Tom's career, the one who avoided facing him when the division needed it most.
There's a lot of rumors out there. Let's just spell a couple of them. First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got 1 million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
I bet if he's weighing 215, he would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 245 pounds. In his 205 frame, right, he could fight Tom Aspinall better than he'd fight him at that 250 because that's not his weight class. While he didn't last long with Ciryl, he didn't look as fast. He carried more weight. Ciryl just did some weird stuff. And Jon, you don't make mistakes.
Now that Tom has been sidelined by injury, Jones suddenly regains his boldness, demanding a fight he avoided when it actually counted. The MMA world sees through it clearly. Many believe Jones isn't challenging Tom out of a desire to compete. He's doing it to damage Tom's reputation, striking while he's vulnerable. But if Jones genuinely wants to headline the White House card, there's only one opponent that makes sense: the reigning heavyweight champion himself.